So give us your best Derek Jackson impersonation. Come on.
He'd be like, ladies, if your man will do everything that you tell him to do, buy you everything that you need, and basically treat you like Jesus, he don't really love you. That's not your real man. Like this dude's
Buy my book.
man.
Yeah.
Buy my book.
Huh?
Yeah.
Right.
Buy my book.
He posted
Even though
his
I'm cheating on my wife,
like all like pretty and stuff, like like love Easter thing, and I was like, you're lying. Like
bruh,
you
this
got
dude
caught. Like why are you trying so hard? Like you're done.
You're done, bro.
And like not only did you get caught, dog, you apologize, but your wife dressed like Aunt Jemima. Like that's not cool, bro.
And she
All right,
was like, did you see the video when she was like, I'm a warrior? I was like, girl, you sound like you're in a cult right now. Like, seriously, like, no jokes. I was terrified to watch it. I was like, I'm not going to even finish it because I'm afraid they're going to drag me into it by the end of the video. I was like, ugh.
Kudos to her, though, because a lot of women would have let him suffer in silence. I mean, look, I'm going to be honest. If my girl cheats on me publicly, she got to handle that shit on her own, bro, because I wasn't with you cheating. You fix the shit by yourself. But kudos to her for sticking by her husband, though.
No, it's nice, but like, he was holding her hand and the way she was looking and, it just, I saw this, like, I think the most common is that I'd rather swallow melting glass than sit by it like that, because he was doing all the talking and she was like barely quiet. I was like, like, that's not cool. Especially if you give a fucking dating advice all the time. that's
textbook narcissism. Yeah. Textbook narcissism.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The Gossip Line Podcast.
Hey everyone, this is the Gossip Line Podcast, and today it's a very good day because we have a really nice topic and a really nice guest. DeCorey, I would lead you the introduction.
All right, so today's guest is the one and only little brother cousin. My cousin, his name is Trey. He can follow him on Instagram. I'll let him tell you that whenever we're done. But I'm glad to have him on the show today. How you doing, brother?
Oh man, I can't complain, dog. I'm happy to be here.
Oh yeah. It's been a long time. Me and him have a lot of these deep talks out here, so it was perfect. I was like, this is the perfect one that I can do with my cousin because I know we'll get a lot out of this.
Yeah, we're actually having really good topics. So, what is the topic today, Decoy?
Oh, so
today you were looking for it very much.
Yeah. So today the topic is about men expressing their emotions. It's in society, like a lot of times, men are told to, you got to be strong, you got to be all this, and it's like we have emotions too. I think just like growing up in the era that, especially me and him grew up in the neighborhoods that we grew up in, it was taught, you don't have to, your emotions, what's that, So that's what we're talking about today.
Okay. Yeah, let's do it then. If you're new to our channel, like, hit subscribe button, notifications, follow us on RSS, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and maybe soon TikTok. I don't know. Shit is going crazy with this around. So anyways, I do have a question, like, first though, like, tell us about, like, how are you growing up? As Decory mentioned, like, it was really hard, like, in the community itself. And we were, like, pre-internet kids. And I think it was, like, even more, like, hard for you guys to do it, like, for us in general, but, like, especially for you and your community. Could you share more, like, experience from the past, like, childhood and everything, where, the first time you heard, like, be a man kind of thing?
The first time I heard be a man, that goes back to, honestly, as far back as I remember. Where we grew up predominantly between Inglewood and Compton, kind of back and forth between those two areas. So for us, emotions meant that there was a weakness. And weakness is a point that somebody, for us, meant that they could exploit. So in this kind of, me and him are always liking it to being lions. Once you get amongst other lions, you can't show that you're prey. You have to essentially stand out amongst, you have to always try to be alpha, or else dudes do see that as, okay, I can take advantage of him. Like, I could rob this dude, like, whatever he got, I got. So much like you hear, like, the prison mentality, that's the mentality on the streets that we grew up in. I remember me and him getting like chased home by drug dealers. And for as scared as we were, being in what were we in, like sixth grade,
Nah, it was less
we
than
can't
that.
show right. We can't even show grown men that we're afraid of them, because to them that's a point of weakness. And so you're taught not only by society and by the phrase "be a man." For us, it was our environment. It was a necessity to suppress emotions, which bleeds into other walks of our lives.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's
like sixth
facts.
grade is like what, like 13, 12?
Now we were what,
Uh,
probably like 10, 11, bro.
yeah, we weren't even six. We was in the fifth grade. We were still in elementary school.
Fuck, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
it's crazy.
horrible though, because I get what you say like about like drug dealers and everything, because I grew up in like not as same neighborhood, but like as close it could be, like probably in Ukraine. But yeah, like it's scary. Like you don't want to be robbed or whatever, so you have to stand up for yourself. But I cannot like even imagine how it is like tough, and like you always like constantly like in like ready mode, probably.
Yeah.
Damn.
You
That's
always got to look over your shoulder.
like, how did like did you guys like feel like you want to express the emotions but like you were afraid to?
Um,
Uh,
I'll let you go, cousin.
I was gonna say, for me, I never had necessarily the platform to express emotion. So a lot of our emotional expression came between the two of us, which I think is how we got so close. Our family would say just so we spent time together, we're so close in age, and our moms were really close. But looking back on it, I think what really kept us together was expressing ourselves to each other. I mean, that's like for me, that was my like little outlet. So I felt like I at least had some sort of way to express
Yeah,
myself, but out in
yeah,
public,
and
Right.
he not lying because like he know I would hit him up all the time. Like, yo, this I'm going through this, I'm going through that, I'm going through this. Like, and that's the only person I can really talk to without fear of like, oh, this is what I feel, you know?
Mm-hmm. I think like at this point, like you at least someone had like you had someone to go and talk to. You had your families to come. You know, you had the safe place where a lot of men don't have that space. You know, for instance, like I know a lot of like couples back in the day where like a man relationship couldn't do shit, like he couldn't come home and feel home. He came home and he felt like even more pressed by his like
Mhm.
woman or family or whatever it is.
Mhm.
And for me, like when a man comes home, like he needs to feel safe, like because it's home for everyone. And I feel it's like very important for like have that person at least, because if you don't even have that person, I think it's like it's so fucked up. Because especially like when women put those kind of things as well, and women are very good at putting things like be a man, but then they constantly want a person to be romantic, do like this like great gestures, but like how, like there's no sense, like you cannot allow your man to demand for him to be a man, and then demand for him to be like thoughtful and everything, because it's also emotions, but emotions come in different shapes and colors, so you cannot like just be romantic and that's it, but like keep your emotions, fears, whatever it is, by your like to yourself. That's impossible.
Yeah, it is. It is. Um,
uh,
did you have, oh, you got something to add? Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say to her point about how the women's dynamic from a relationship plays into a man's emotions. She is right. I mean, they say that they want emotional men, but I've noticed women treat what they want from us emotionally almost like a Postmates order. Hey, I want you to be romantic. Like I want you to tell me you love me. Keep the crying stuff at home. Don't tell me if you had a bad day. If your mom's pissing you off, I don't want to know about that either. But I do want these three things from you. Outside of that, you can have it.
Okay. Yeah. Say that because it's rolling into one of my questions. I don't want you to leak out the good stuff, you know?
Got you.
All right. So I do got a question for
You
you though.
cannot have like both, person
Yeah.
comes in, with good and bad, so.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Let me drop this question for you, bro. For both of you guys, actually. So why does society look down on men who express their emotions?
Uh,
We'll start with the guest. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead, cuz start with you.
uh, I think that's because in society, men are loved simply for what they can provide. Like that's the foundation of a man's value. What can he provide, right?
Mhm.
So anything outside of that is taboo. And just if you look throughout history, men have always been warriors and we've always been protectors. Well, it wasn't until recently that PTSD was even a thing. So even men who had emotional trauma from going off to war or from, just living in the environment that they lived in, they were thought to be less than. I mean, look at the Spartans, like they killed men who showed emotion because they wanted hardened warriors, right? So that mentality still follows us to this day, where if for some reason you show anything outside of wanting to be hard, provide, and be tough, then people are like, well, we've only known men to be this, so something's wrong with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. Yeah, like it's like, as you said before, like it's a weakness, like shown as weakness, even though I think it's like the most, biggest flex emotionally, to be honest, like I can express because I feel that way and it's okay. It doesn't, like, I think it's better for men, to express emotions, vulnerably, like, hey, I'm feeling this, like I need a fucking hug and it's okay, instead of going like outside, kick someone's ass, get in the fight or come and abuse, women or children, So like, obviously there's supposed to be a normal like playground for everyone to express and share their emotions instead of just like keeping them inside. And then when it hits the limit, it gets ugly and no one likes ugly. But then, it's like, it's impossible to get track with the society because domestic violence obviously is horrible, but then we don't have the platform for men to openly and safely express emotions to avoid that fucking domestic violence or any violence precisely.
Yeah. So it's like if you can't express what you feel, like just growing up where we are, like I said, I don't express my feelings that much. It's bad. I try, I express it with my cousin, but the thing is, it does cause this like mental health issues. So a lot of men are around here with these, like you said, PTSD, other things where they can't talk to nobody because it's a sign of weakness. And once you say that, they're like, oh, what? Get over it. You're a man up.
That's the most terrible phrase ever.
Yeah. And even when men do find platforms, I mean, like for us, video games was also a platform for us to kind of express emotionally. We would like sit down and play Grand Theft Auto, but I noticed we would always find ourselves in these deep talks while we're playing. And that was kind of outlet for us, even still to this day. And like you was talking about how men don't have a platform or an opportunity or some sort of lane to express themselves. I mean, even that gets taken from them because I mean, like we're both 30. We both still play video games. To me, that's still an outlet. If I have a bad day at work, I go home, I queue up 2K or Call of Duty or something, give myself a little bit, and I wind down. But even now, it's, oh, now you play video games too much. You too old for this. You too old for that. You can't do this. So it's like we can't talk.
Facts.
We
like
can't
it seems like you
even
never can
express
catch a
them.
break or something.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like you play video games, it's not good enough. You cry, no. You go like beat someone else, not good. So like, how do you express? Like I'm like I came to the senses when I have a bad day or like not a bad day, but like exhausting day. I cry. I would share like fucking 5 tears, and I'm good. Like I release the tension from myself instead of like being angry or carry it within myself, and that's it. Or I laugh, and that's it. Like, but then I probably do it like mostly by myself because I can always come back as a crybaby as well. If I have an everyday tough day, it's kind of not good.
Yeah.
But it's even tougher for you guys because it's insane. I have no idea how even you guys keep sane for that long with what you had overcome, and what you've experienced. Like that's, for me, it's just like crazy and like very like, powerful and strong. Yet, I wish everyone had, their own time and place to express emotions when they need, when it's their timing and they're like, feel like it. So,
Yeah. And like when you can't do it, you go down rabbit holes. Cause I found myself going down the rabbit hole. Like I would like, my cousin can tell you, I would go out, drink. I go out and be partying all the time with different women. Like, I was wilding out because I didn't want to express myself, I was like, this is going to keep, I'm gonna put it off. 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 And I would just do shit
All
like
them
that.
DC nights.
Yeah. DC. Yeah. I was wilding out. Yeah, man. Yeah. So, okay. We're moving right along. So do you think it's normal for men to be emotional?
But Now, the caveat to that is in the manner in which they do it.
Got you.
So men express their emotions in every day, and they do them all in very unique ways. So it's quite normal, but the ways that I think are probably the most healthy are not appreciated. So every day, like for me, you know me, bro, I have a horrible temper, right?
Yeah.
But it's never because of a single thing for me. It's
Mhm.
usually because of a bunch of things that have piled up. Now, for me, football was my outlet. That
Same.
little few hours I had every day at practice where I got to just tear dudes limb from limb and it was legal. Like that was a way for me to express everything at once. Music has always been an outlet for me. But I'm 30 years old. I had ankle surgeries. My knees aren't the same. Football is no longer an option, right? I play drums. I live in an apartment building. Music's not really an option right now. So it has to come out in other ways, and those ways usually aren't the most healthy. So I feel like people have to realize that yeah, it's normal, and we got to start accepting healthy ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Facts.
especially like during pandemic, like the first lockdown, like year ago, I think a lot of people, like men especially, got into the position where there's no option, and they had to kind of look inside and make other people with them in their environment to accept like, hey, this is my emotion. And exactly as you guys mentioned, like you have to do something that brings you happiness, and that relief, because sometimes I want to punch people in faces, the people I don't like, because it just like anger is also an emotion, and it's okay to feel it. And if you go and kick someone's ass for no reason, that's a bad release of that. If you go to the gym, like play football where it's legal, it's really good, because you have to release like physical or mental tension either way. Otherwise
Yep.
you'll
And
just
that
explode, and the explosion could be like not really pretty.
not at all. And like he said, like sports was my outlet or video games. It's mostly sports and video games. I
Right.
wasn't into like the like drums and all that, but mine was just it's just like sports and video games. And when he said he had a temper, it's like we're like day and night. Like I'm always like, I'm laughing at everything. He like, like so that's how we did talk. So it kind of balanced it, it balanced it out.
Right. But then
Yeah.
again, like you got a temper, but then you made a choice, right, to put it like somewhere useful and not like some like real aggressive way. So
Oh, it wasn't always like that though. That took
okay.
time. He can tell you there were times where like I'd be at school or something and like they had to lock me in the office to keep me from getting to the other person. Or even if it was like me and him, a lot of times where he himself, there's only two people in this world who've been able to talk me down. It's my mom and him. So like we'll
Right.
be out and like I'll be pissed about something and like when I get mad, I like black out, right? And so a lot of times either him, my mom, or somebody would have to talk me back to reality. But like
Right.
he'll tell a story, but I'll tell it before he tell it. I know he gonna tell it wrong. Where like I was in DC, and he thinks it's simply because they was just messing with me, which yeah, it was kind of irritating, but I had other stuff going on back home. So we going to this mall, this dude shoulder checks the shit out of me, right? And that was the straw that broke the camel's back. And in my mind, this dude is about to get the ass whooping in his life, right? But I'm also over the age 18 at this point. So if this happens, I go to jail, right? But I didn't really know what else to say or do or how to really react to everything that was going on. So my first reaction was somebody's about to get it. So if not for him, like stepping in and kind of talking me down, maybe I have a charge on my record at this point in time.
Right. So do
Yeah.
you think all this like tension and anger just like became basically a part of you because you couldn't express those emotions like on daily basis because you had to like constantly leaving the house, you had to man up, and that was not the option. So that like builds the temper.
Almost definitely. Especially at that particular time.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, we were
so
young, like
Yeah, of
yeah, we
course.
were like 18 and 19. And at this particular time, I found out that my high school sweetheart was messing with one of my best friends back home. And so like a part of me, like honestly wanted to cry. Because I like just couldn't believe that somebody who was supposed to be like mad close to me had the capacity to do some dirt like that.
Yeah.
But living in a house full of men, that's not really the viable option. You know what I'm saying? And so that coupled with, you know, and like we talk shit to each other on a daily basis, but just this particular day, I just wasn't in the mood for the shit talking. So all that stuff coupled together, and really no one wants to hear you be like, oh man, my girl's cheating on me. Like, what do I do? Like, I'm so hurt. Like, I could have that conversation with Corey, but we out in public, and you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I can't talk about it. I just got to deal with it. This dude just pissed me off, so he's about to get it.
Yeah, that was a funny day.
For you. Now,
but
like,
no,
it's always nice when you look back and you're just like, oh my God, that was so
Yeah.
it was a funny day, but a better night. The night was better. It ended better. We went out, turned up, had fun.
Yeah, like I think that's also like a nice way, like, you know, when you just go out and like I like to like dance it off, you know, because like dance could be like very different. You can like dance it like very nice, you know, and like girly or whatever, but like you can also dance really aggressive or just like chill with like with the noise, you know, that like fills your ears and like you cannot even hear your own thoughts. Yeah, that's also, oh man, I miss clubbing sometimes. I'm too old for that, but like I miss it sometimes.
Hey, you're never too old for a bar.
Well,
But
I can always go, you know, like have a drink and like, you know, mentally judge everyone. But, you know, I cannot like go to the club at 10 p.m., like dance till 6 a.m. and then go back, you know, home by subway that I used to do like 10 years ago, which I miss. But, you know, you got to grow up.
That reminds me of them.
Yeah.
Man, that reminds me of us being in DC. We used to go to this club called Love. Man.
That's for the man episode.
That.
That's for the men episode when we talk about men stuff. Wow. Yeah. All right. So we're gonna move into this like relationship side of the house, man.
Okay.
So what are the consequences of emotional avoidance in a relationship, you think?
Well, seeing as how in base of any relationship is communication, avoiding emotions, which often are expressed with some form of communication, it leads to a lot of misguided arguments, a lot of misguided frustration, a lot of misunderstanding. Because if you have something emotionally that holds you back from something, or let's just say it's a trigger point for you, and you don't share that with your other, whether it be because you don't feel like they are really willing to receive it, or whether because you're just not willing to give it at that point, they don't know, right? And so you may have certain tendencies about you that are truly rooted in something honest, that they may just see as you being an asshole or being emotionally unavailable, and it's not the case. There may be real trauma. Like, I don't like my girlfriends to touch me a lot. Like, I just don't. But it comes from like past relationships, you know what I'm saying? Like, it sounds weird because like most dudes are here to be like, what, nigga? Like, you don't want your girlfriend to touch you, you know what I'm saying? But it's just people just haven't respected those boundaries in previous relationships. So like when I go through that with her, and I may not disclose that to my new girlfriend, she won't understand. She thinks I'm just being an asshole, or like my current girlfriend said, she felt rejected, right? So I had to kind of check myself and be like, avoiding the topic doesn't benefit neither one of us at this point, because she needs to know why I don't like that. And I need to be mature enough in my emotions to express that. The problem is, when is the right time? Because men treat their emotions like women treat their virginity or like their sexual openness with their partner. So for a woman going into a relationship, the thing she's going to hold on to the longest or with the most sanctity is going to be when she allows herself to physically be available to her partner, right? Because women naturally, I feel like, are more open with their emotions. On the flip side, men are more open sexually, more closed off emotionally. So for us, what we hold on to with the most sanctity is that openness on what's going on inside. So you have to find this balance, or else you can implode.
Yeah, and to be honest, you just like hit every wicket of what I'm doing right now. And I feel like I'm doing a lot of those things now, you know, because I like I said, it's hard for me to express my emotions to anybody except for you, pretty much. It's hard. It's hard for me to get out. I'll say things little by little, piece by piece. And I think that it does cause friction in, the relationship. I'm what
Yeah,
were
I
you gonna
just
say?
wanted to add. Uh, no, I think like from female side in like those relationship, right? You also like it's important to let your partner know that it's okay for him to share because as we talked before, women just want that's like charming prince, doing all the romantic shit and keep your emotions to yourself. Like you had a bad day, I don't want to hear about that. But I think it's very important from like female perspective to like allow men to be themselves around them, to let them know, it's okay. And it goes like not only like in relationship precisely with like your like love partner, right, romantic partner, but like also in family. I remember when my dad's mom passed away and I took care of all the funerals and everything, and it was like his parent obviously, and I just let him know like it's okay to cry, like fuck whatever like people think or whatever, it's like it's not important at this point. What important is like for you to express those emotions because that's the only opportunity you have, and it's okay, like even like whatever people think, like because it's also a culture like he's not supposed to cry, he should be a man.
Yeah,
But that's not the fucking case. And I think it's important for your like to let your loved ones know that it's okay, that you will not judge them, and whatever other people think, it's like it's bullshit, it's not none of your like business within like your relationship. It's very
yeah,
important to like let the person know that I'm here for you, you're safe, your emotions are like not going to be mistreated or like laughed on, that it's okay
yeah,
to like share this.
yeah.
And then,
So
like to your point though, so I have a question to that point though that I think a lot of people overlook because I totally agree with you. But do you think that a lot of girls love the idea of an emotional man, but not the true having to deal with an emotional man? Because
Yes,
it sounds nice in theory, right? Like I want a dude that's gonna be
of course.
open, tell me what's going on. Like I've even heard girls say, I want a man that's gonna cry. But then when they get that, they don't know what to do with it.
You don't want to like your man to cry every day. That's why I said like no one wants me to cry every day. This is why I do it like in solitude, because I know it just helps me. That's okay. So I know that it's just something that I do only by myself, sometimes in public or whatever if I feel like it. But obviously no one's one to have a crybaby, neither way. But yeah, I think no one is ready because we have this idea, but again, miscommunication can lead to a lot of problems. So like obviously we're not also taught, to like be like that. So we like trying to figure things out. But I think the perspective of that you should understand that's not just a man, that's a human being, and
Right.
yeah,
someone you very care about because it's your, partner or whatever. And you are together. So you have to figure things out together. It doesn't mean that woman or man will accept both like sides of emotion equally every single time with understanding. But the
mhm,
point is like to talk about it, and like even if you don't talk, if you don't feel like talking, understand that you're not being like rejected, or it doesn't mean the person don't want to share it with you. It means like maybe I'm not the right person, and it's okay. But also too important like for guys to communicate, like this is why, as you said, like you do not like being touched, and you should like explain why, because otherwise every woman would feel rejected, like if she
yeah,
cares for you.
yeah. And that's things that we do have to express. Like I'm kind of the same way, or it's like I like to be touched, but then I don't like to be like, oh, like, oh, smothered. I don't like it. I'm weird like that. But I don't mind. I need to start like what I think that I should do is be open to it. At least be open to it and like, okay, I don't really like it, but I'm gonna let you know it's not that I'm gonna reject you or anything.
Yeah.
Or yeah, it's more that you need to be open with these things, which
Yeah, because I'm
perfectly
very
said about
touchy
both.
person. For me, this is how
Yeah,
I show my love language, right? I'm very
yeah,
touchy. I
yeah,
like
yeah,
to be touched. But if you don't feel like touching at this point, like just explain it to me, So like in the future, like okay, I'll adapt, because obviously when we meet each other, we're not just like ta-ta. It's a hard fucking work. It's
yeah,
a daily work that you have to have a willing to put in. And like emotions and everything, like it's very important, because I've been drained for like 2 months emotionally, and I couldn't understand why, till like one day just hit me. So I was like trying to figure out everywhere where I put my emotions out. And I couldn't even understand that, oh, so this is why I was like so drained. Like it's hard to even figure yourself out. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I
And
think
then
like
there's
really like
a fear.
Yeah. You said the fear. Yeah.
Yeah, because like you gotta so like, and I know me and you have both gone through this on multiple occasions of peace, where there's also a fear when you're in a relationship to share, because you could want to, right? Like there could be like a legit longing in you to want to open up. But like me and him, I know for sure have both been exposed to it where you go against your nature, you go against what's telling you don't do it, and you're like, you know what, fuck it. Like I'm gonna tell her like what's going on inside my head. And then she seems like super okay, like it's good that she's telling me this until she gets mad 6 months later. Then all of a sudden, everything that you just told her that you don't share with anybody else, that she knows is a trigger point for you, all of a sudden that's an issue now. But when she was begging for you to tell her, everything was all good. So then what happens is, like, I can tell y'all like full disclosure. So for me, uh, I was dating a girl, and I don't know if I can legally say her name. I don't know, but her name starts with C. My first black chick dating as an adult, right? And everything was
Mhm.
solid. And when we first started out, she kept pressing me about my emotions. She was like, hey, like, I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable, but I want you to know you can be open with me. So after about 6 months of that, I finally opened up, told her what was going on, just how I am emotionally, and other stuff. Well, when she got tired of the relationship, or when she felt like she needed to move on for her, all of a sudden all those things were issues that she wanted me to express to her, and she would push me to talk to her about literally every day. Oh, well, how was this? Like we said we were going to talk more about this today. And so then when I got into a relationship a couple years later, her name starts with a D. She's the last white girl I dated. Um, Same thing happened. She wanted me to do all this stuff, and then she didn't like blatantly throw it in my face, but like she would talk to her friends about my personal emotional stuff as if it was a negative thing. And now my girlfriend I have, like years later, she can't understand sometimes why I don't want to talk about it. Well, it's because when you open up, that essentially becomes the bullseye, right? It's something that they're like, okay, well, I know that when we get into it, if I want to win, no matter how wrong I am, this is the button I have to push. So
Yep.
then it makes me not want to tell anybody anything. At this point in my life, I only talk to him.
right.
Yeah, and he hit that right on the head. Like it's been multiple occasions. Like we talked about it, close conversations. He know after 6 months, I'm calling him, bro. This is what's going on. This is what's going on. He knows that Mark. You
And
know
I
what's
agree
going
with
on.
you because this is miscommunication. Whenever like what I've learned about myself recently, that when person tells me something like whatever it like concerns that person or like our relationship, I tend not to like jump over right away. I do need time to process the information or like understand how I feel about it, but like not a fucking half a year later. That's stupid.
Yeah.
So in terms of that, I feel it's just very like sneaky, and that obviously we're not your like people, but I don't think that putting that like be cautious is good, but like put like precisely all that experience like on next relationship is not also really good, because I've been doing it for years and it didn't benefit me anyhow or a relationship. So but yeah, I would definitely be cautious, like for sure.
It's not, but when somebody, so in Batman, there is a character, his name is Scarecrow, right? And he releases this gas that essentially makes you live out your worst fears for as long as you're under the
The spell, the gas.
the little spell thing, right? Well, take that same thing, and even though it's from a cartoon or a comic or a movie, and you are right, it's not healthy to take into your next relationship. But when somebody essentially does the same thing to you with
Yeah.
your own emotions, it's like it feels like that same kind of curse that Scarecrow uses, where uh, they basically take what you shared, they basically take what lies the deepest within you, and they weaponize it, which causes what people fail to realize is, and I'm gonna say it since most people won't, it causes more emotional trauma. It causes more scars. I actually have something that I used to read, and he's read it before. It's like a little poem. that I posted on my Facebook, and it's called Scars, and it's talking about how all those scars are essentially just almost like calligraphy telling a story of all the stuff that you've gone through. And it makes you not want to share anymore. You know what I'm saying? And it makes you more closed off than it did previously.
Yep.
Yeah,
I totally
and
get.
like I was,
I built a wall right away, like highest fucking wall ever. But in those terms that you've shared, which is like very nice, so thank you very much for that. It's like very personal. I think where this one where women are actually like, you know, immature in terms of like, instead of like actually explain like, listen, hey, this went down for me, you know, I don't feel like some type of way to you anymore, you know, and like do it like peacefully. They like throw like bombs at you for no reason, you know, just to hurt you because they don't know how to get out of situation, which is very unhealthy. And you know, this is something that we as society should, you know, put out there, because you know, people would rather ghost you or like throw those bombshells on you instead of like sit and like explain, because it's okay. You know, some people like fell in love, you know, got married, you know, spent like 20 years together, but then something went, you know, off, and it's fine because it's part of life. It's nothing bad about it. But we need to learn to like face that and express it in a nice way, because this is the result basically, you know, where we being hurt so many times, and you guys especially, because you know, I can go and cry to my girlfriends. You just guys, you know, if you have if you're lucky enough to have the person to talk to, you would. But if you don't, you keep it inside, and that's,
yeah,
there's no out for you guys to, you know, feel some type of way, you know, and express those emotions, which is very terrifying, to be honest.
yeah,
And
you
then
know, they say hurt people hurt people, you know.
exactly, and this is
Um,
and then you don't know any other way to like either lower those walls or like break them, or you would do probably, you know, could be doing the same for other people as well, because this is kind of like your toxic circle routine thing.
yeah,
And you're right. It's not just women that do it to us. We do it to each other too. Like
yep,
uh,
Yeah.
one of the most toxic videos I ever seen. So he knows I've been to the bowels of the internet and seen some shit. But there's this one video I saw that was like really alarming me. Everybody thought it was funny, but this dude is in the car. He calls his girlfriend. She answers the phone on FaceTime while she's actively having intercourse with another man. Now she answered on accident. So he sees what's going on, he hears what's going on. So then she hangs the phone. So he calls her back and he's like, yo, like, are you there with somebody else? And his boys are in the car with him. Now, instead of his boys being like, yo, bro, like, are you good? You feel me?
Oh,
Like,
wait, 1 sec,
you hear
sorry.
you.
1 sec, sorry. Yes, please continue. I'm sorry.
But like, instead of his boys like being like, yo, bro, like, are you good? Like you need to pull over or something. You hear somebody from the back yell, niggas, you about to cry? And I'm thinking to myself, like, now y'all just heard what this man just had to experience. And instead of anybody checking on his well-being emotionally,
Yeah.
and you ain't even got to do it in like a soft way. It's just simple, just being like, hey, bro, you good? You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
And you know, I understand that dude's pain because I went through that. Somebody did that to me, and you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And we
Mm-hmm.
talked about this on the break. Like, I was in high school, you know, she did some crazy, and then she like threw it back in my face, like it was my fault. Like, yo, you was out there doing that, not me, you know. And like he said, like that fear of expressing your emotions, because the same person I expressed my emotions to turned it back on me. I was like, oh, why are you like this? You do this, you do that. You're not hardcore. You're not this. I'm like, yo, when I was, you wasn't accepted, but now I'm like this. You like, you know, it wasn't no balance. So
Yeah. This
that
is
fear
where it
thing is
goes to the
big.
bottom, where women want that, but they have no fucking idea how to handle it, or it's like too much, you know, like I
Yeah,
want like, but then yeah, that's
yeah.
something
You know,
that
we've been through some
almost like
things.
on both sides need to work, like definitely, like because it's a hard daily work. But then if you don't know how to do it, you know, ask your friends, you know, ask a person what is like your I don't know, love language, you know, like emotional, you know, state of
Yeah,
mind or whatever, instead of just like going and like being bitch basically about like, or a douchebag about whatever like hurting you, and you just don't know how to express it. Learn how to express yourself. And you know, and even like with friends, like those are not really good friends, you know, if like if you share that and then they're just like, oh, stop nagging, or like, you always complaining, like Because you're my free therapist. That's why I'm going to you, because like I trust you that much with that.
Yeah.
And like
So
you said in that video, like when friends did it, like, yo, that's just really sad. Because like
yeah, it
Yeah,
is.
probably like the emotions that you going through, like it's a roller coaster, and like it's literally like gives you anxiety. You cannot breathe. And then, you know,
Right.
instead of like check up on the person, they're just like cracking jokes. Like,
I mean,
Yeah.
it's a learned behavior though. I mean, look at the way society handles male emotions, right? So society has become reactive to male emotions, not proactive. So after you snap and you hit your wife, or like in Chris Benoit's situation, right? He's one of our wrestlers we used to watch growing up. He killed his wife, he killed his children in a murder suicide,
okay.
right? You look at his situation, you look at Junior Seau's situation. Everybody talks about mental health after the man had been broken. But when he was bending, nobody wanted to say, oh, how's he doing? Nobody wanted to be proactive. Nobody wanted to address everything that was going on with him mentally and the stuff he went through beforehand. Everything is always after the fact it happens. Oh, we need to talk about mental health. We need to talk about how men are treated. Well, if we have that conversation beforehand, we stop a lot of the stuff
Yeah.
that happens.
Which
Yeah.
is actually very funny, because I lived in China for like 3 years, as you guys know. So there's no such thing as mental issues. Like, there's just not. Until the guy goes with a machete to the middle of the street and kills innocent people, Asian or white, Caucasian, black, doesn't matter, people. And then it's just like, oh yeah, by the way, he was not really, he was cray cray. I'm like, seriously? And like we, as like, you know, Western part of the world, like judge them a lot, where we're not even better that much. We just
Nah.
like kind of like, oh, but you know, we're that proactive, but then we don't do much. We just talk shit a lot
Yeah,
instead of
that's
like
facts.
actually helping. Yeah.
I got a question for y'all. My next question, you know, I know we were getting deep into that, you know, sorry I had to break it up. But so how can man learn to become vulnerable, you know? What do you think our
Uh,
outlets are?
Honestly, I think it starts early on. So for our generation, it's gonna have to be something that we have to practice at, right? For the kids coming up, it needs to be something. So, and not to compare the two, but just to have some sort of baseline. Just like for the girls coming up, the Me Too movement has been huge for them. They understand their rights. They understand that you have a say, you have power. Your choice is always your choice, right? And they get to be raised with that. The girls now who are older, it's something that's like a breath of fresh air for them. So we have to take that same approach with mental health and emotions for men. We have to start teaching the young kids now, hey, your mental health is just as important as your physical health. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Your emotional health, like your emotions matter. Like me and him have this conversation about how it feels like when you're in a relationship, you're only allowed to have an argument when your girlfriend is upset about something. Because if something bothers you, you're bitching. So we have to start teaching young boys now, hey, if you're not happy, that matters. You need to be able to say something. And if somebody is unwilling to accept that, you need to be willing to let them go.
Yeah.
Period.
Definitely.
And we have to start it young so that way it's not a learned behavior, it's a behavioral trait that you take
Yeah.
your emotional health seriously. And for us, honestly speaking, man, it's not that we're a lost cause. For us, it has to, I think a lot of it starts with
You
having
know,
someone to turn to,
yeah.
right? Because having something to turn to is great. But my PlayStation can't listen to when, I feel like, you know, things just aren't going my way. You know what I'm saying? My drums don't know that I'm in the worst emotional place I've ever been. So you need somebody to
Yeah.
turn to. Like a lot of people don't know, like I've considered taking my own life before on multiple occasions. When I was in Guam, and basically my command was on this like teardown tour based on some lies somebody told. And then when I first got out the Navy, like I had purpose for pretty much my entire adult life, got out to chase a dream, which I'm still chasing. And like the first few months, I was like, damn, this shit is weird. But then who do you turn to? You know what I'm saying? So we have to allow ourselves to find an avenue of somebody to talk, whether it be like they got these texting apps now. You can text therapists or whatever, and you kind of set your own rates.
I use one of those.
Finding a family member, finding a friend.
It's very affordable now, like everywhere. Yeah. So definitely take the advantage of that. I agree with kids like 100%. And I think for you guys, it's very important, like in my perspective, for instance, like to have not just like someone to turn to, like as a kid, you know, if like our generation is kind of like, you know, left behind, but like,
Lost
you know,
cause,
it's still like as a dad, I think it's very important to show your boys that it's okay to, you know, in any age, come to your dad and have a fucking hug, you know, and have a conversation, or just like cry on the shoulder, because it's not just like, oh, stop, you're like, we're two adult men. No, you're still a father, and it's always going to be your baby. And that's like, this is the responsibility of like a mindset we should have whenever everyone, children, women and male, you know, like women and men. By the way,
I get, but I get what you're saying. Like when it comes to the father figures, but like in our situation, they wasn't there.
Yeah, I understand. Like that's what I'm saying. Like you as guys, like you're gonna have families in the future. You know, like I think this starts like within you, that you want to share the love, and you tell your kid that it's okay to come when you're 30 to your all ass and like, you know, still have a hug, and if he needs to cry on his shoulder, he can. That's what very important. Like
I mean, that's what I do with my kid now. I mean, he's 4 years old. He's been with his mom his whole life, pretty much. So I've only been in his life for about a year. He's not my biological son, but I mean, he wouldn't know that. But I do the same thing with him. Like if he's feeling upset, my thing with him is like, I stop him. I literally pull him right in front of me. I sit down and I be like, tell me what's going on. And not because I want to force him to open up, even if he doesn't want to. But what I'm trying to do is create a habit that if something's wrong, words are often the answer, because you can talk to somebody and let it out. And not only can you give them what's going on, a lot of times you can receive a different perspective.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'd literally take him, make him stand in front of me and be like, tell me what's going on. Like, what's wrong? Like, why are you upset? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And so the people without father figures, I'm sorry. So the people without father figures, like for us, we had to learn that on our own. We had to talk to each other and think that, you know, but you know, like you're doing a good job with the kid, you know, telling him like, hey, this is that. But then you got to lean on, you got to have close friends too. You can talk to, you know, you got to have that friends that's on your level of like emotion. Like, hey, bro, I like to express my emotions. You know, cool. I can talk to you about that. You know, and it's support system. And that's what I think we need to learn how to be more, you know, like that. Just some big support systems. And like I said, because we're being man society, it's kind of they don't look at it, you know, like that. But I think, like you said, the generation coming up now and us, we can change that. You know, we can usher in show these emotions, so we won't be having these mass shootings. We won't be having these people going on rampages, beating their wives, and all that. I think, you know, you raising your kid that way, he's gonna set that up for generations. Like, yo, this is what my dad taught me. This is what I learned. You know, I learned how to express myself, because I wish I had that growing up. You know.
But like,
I wish I had that.
It's also like I have to like give you like, you know, measure like applause for you just like being that situation without like father figure, and still figure things out, you know, still find the person, seek for the person as a teenager, especially, you know, where like usually kids are just like bully or mock you all the time, no matter like how close you guys are. But then, you know, like to seek and find that person, like I think it's very, I don't know, just amazing the way that you know, you feel that way and you actually go and like find the person and, you know, share it, like feeling comfortable with and everything. So, and like talking about kids again, like it's also like really nice because as you said, like you can get a different perspective, because kids don't get like so mixed up with all like society things that we have. They're so pure with that, you know, because they express anger, happiness very purely, and you can always like reach out for that. And kids learn how to express their feelings from early age is also very important. Then the communication is no brainer for them. They don't stuck just like, I don't know what I feel, which sometimes I face it, and I'm pretty sure you guys as well. Well, like we just never had that platform to like be communicative enough to express.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, that was good. I think we beat that one up. So the last one, the last question I have, and let's kind of make this one quick because I'm kind of hungry. It's like 10 o'clock almost. But, but huh?
I said, eat food.
No, yeah, after this question. So my last question of the night, do you think men are narcissistic when it comes to their emotions sometimes?
Um, no. Um, so if I say no in a very general sense, because obviously there are outliers, right? Like Derek Jackson. Um,
Yes.
but when I say no, it's not trying to paint men as a really like emotional victim. It's just to be narcissistic about your emotions means that you've had to address them, means that you've had to place your emotions above everybody else. And men just haven't been allowed that platform to even be narcissistic about their emotions because you would have had to first acknowledge them, have had to feel like you could talk about them, and then have to feel like they matter. And we often feel like they don't. Narcissists feel like they essentially matter more than the rest, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is why everything that happens with them is a priority. So I feel like we just haven't reached a place where we're emotionally available enough to even allow ourselves to be narcissistic about anything emotional. Anything I say we undervalue our own emotions because we feel like they don't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like once you come out like and you know kind of demand like your emotions to be heard and like valued, then you come out as a narcissist right away. Is the like old story like Black Lives Matter, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
also not all like lives matter, like which is bullshit. It's like
Right.
basic acts for equality. This is asking for equality, and this okay, and this is how it's supposed to be. So not everything, like most of it is not narcissistic at all. Like obviously, as you said, like there are people who are lying, but like it's gender mutual. I think like both like people are lying and like cheating and everything. So yeah. What
Yeah.
about you,
Hey,
Tori? What do you think?
he hit it right on the head. Like I feel like everybody, in a sense, is some type of narcissist. Just a little bit, a little bit.
I
I
think
feel
it's
like
like
everybody can.
very healthy selfishness that should
Yeah,
be.
yeah, yeah. No, that's
Keep there.
fine. That's fine. But when you're using it to manipulate people, that's bad. So I think that everybody does have it in their their body a little bit. But like he said, when it comes to emotions, like we really don't have that platform. Like it looks bad when a man's like, oh, now we're like you said, we're trying to raise a generation that's fixing that. So he hit it right on the head. That's just my little 2 cents on it.
Okay. Yeah. That was really nice. I've learned a lot, and I'm really appreciate for you to come out and like share your like very personal stories. That's a major, like that's what we're trying to do here, like share as much personal experience that we've had, like because everyone is going through so many things, and like not everybody like get acknowledged, like because everybody like kind of keeping them inside and like posting like good highlights or whatever, but it's very important to like have those conversations. So thank you from my bottom of the heart. Like I thank you both like to be there and like share that because it's very important, like especially like
Yeah.
nowadays. So yeah.
And I do want
Yeah,
to
we
thank you for
appreciate
coming. Yeah, I do want to thank you for coming on the show. We definitely gonna have you on again. We definitely have a guy bonus episode that me and
it. Yes,
you are
sir.
gonna talk about all kind of crazy shit, fun stuff, old
I'm looking
times,
forward to
funny
watching.
stories.
I'm like, damn.
We got some funny stories. We have some funny
Yeah,
stories.
man.
Nice. That's nice.
Yeah, man.
Okay,
Thanks for
I
having me,
think
bro.
that's a
I've been
wrap.
looking forward to it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, that's a wrap. Like I said,
Yeah.
thank you for tuning into the Gossip Wine podcast.
Yep.
Like, subscribe, share this video out. Trying to run it up.
Yep. Okay. I think that's it. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
listening. Thanks for tuning in, and follow us everywhere as Decory said, so you know what to do. Yep. Again, thank you very much for being here, and we are out. Yay!
All right.
That was cool.